Welcome to the first entrepreneurship roundtable of people. I think this is the right time to introduce you to the founder of, or co-founder of Rocket Fizz, Rob. His partner couldn't come today, but we have the best partner of the two.
Well, I don't know about that one.
He brought all these things to give them away today. So we're going to, and I already grabbed mine, bacon soda.
Bacon soda, wow. Okay,
so I'm going to let the floor to Rob, and let's listen to his bootstrapping strategy to grow his business.
Hi everybody, thank you for coming. And I brought sodas and candy for everybody. If I didn't show up, I didn't want a riot to break out or anything, so that's why I brought it for everybody. And we have 85 different sodas that we bottle. It's all cane sugar and real spring mountain water. We have a bottling plant in the high Sierras. And that's just part of the evolution of growing our company, Rocket Fizz. We started back in 2007. The concept began on a road trip. And so I've been an entrepreneur since I was 8 years old, wheeling and dealing baseball cards. And I've done all kinds of crazy things in my life. I don't need to talk about it now. If anybody wants to ask later, I'm more than happy to answer the questions in the Q&A session. But Rocket Fizz began in 2007. My business partner, Ryan, he was a soda pop distributor for many, many years, and we're both living up in northern Nevada, and he had to deliver sodas to a little town near Mount Shasta. And so he and I were having lunch in Reno one day, and he goes, I got to deliver these sodas in a little town in Mount Shasta. Do you want to come along with the road trip? I'm like, yeah, of course. And so a few days later, about 6 o'clock in the morning, I meet him in Reno. He has this cargo van just full of sodas, cases, 500 cases, I don't even know. The tires are just half flat because of the weight. And I said, we're going to make it to the town? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know, let's do it. So we're driving this mountain road and with all these old sodas, and every turn you have, you just feel the weight of the truck. We get to this town, and this guy comes out, the guy who owns this retail store, so excited to see Ryan. I'm way too excited. I'm like, this is kind of odd. So I go in the guy's store. He's selling one soda for like $3.99, $4.99 a bottle. I'm like, oh my God, I'd be excited too if this guy shows up. And I know what Ryan's making. He's just not making much. And so I'm like, this is kind of backwards here. Let's just do something. Let's think about this. And the real estate in Camarillo, where Rocket Fizz is, I actually own that shopping center. And so I have a vacancy coming up in a couple of years, about a year and a half. And I said to Ryan, I go, let's just put a whole Rocket Fizz a soda pop concept together, no name yet. A soda pop concept together, and if it doesn't work, I'm not going to evict us. And your family, his family's from Camarillo. He's from Camarillo, all these up in northern Nevada. And we figured out a way to run it. And so we, on the road trip back from Mount Shasta, we're just taking all these notes, putting this whole Rocket Fizz idea. And it evolved for a year and a half. It just kept evolving and evolving. Finally, we opened up in February '09. But in the fall of '08, we're still up in northern Nevada, and we had a general contractor who was doing the store, but all the TIs for Rocket Fizz, and he ripped us off for over $90,000. He just took the money, and we're up in northern Nevada, and Ryan's wife is, we're all trying to call the guy, where is he? And the subcontractors are all calling for their money, like, this is, why aren't they getting paid? So I ended up suing him and winning, but he only got half the money back. It was a pain in the butt. So between that and another retail concept that Ryan and I had back in '07, '08, Northern California, which we lost a lot of money because of forest fires in the tourist town, and the economy's changed. When Rocket Fizz opened up in February '09, we have a lot of debt. An enormous amount of debt. So what we did when the contractor took our money, Ryan's family and friends are all in Camarillo, and he has friends who are all like subcontractors and plumbers, electricians, and so on. So everyone came together, and they all just pitched in, and we built Rocket Fizz. And so when the TIs were done, all the inventory was coming, and we pulled off all the construction paper from the windows, and people were just banging on the windows all day and wanting to come in and see what it was. And we're selling candy and sodas like out of the boxes, and I have like a shoebox full of like quarters and dollars and just money. People want to buy things, and they're not even priced or anything. And they're like, "How much is this?" I'm like, "I don't even know. I haven't even seen the invoices. I'm just like $2 or whatever." It's like a little flea market going on there. Finally, we officially opened up the store in February '09. And the first Saturday night we opened, there was about 70 people in the store, and it was just packed. And 2 people know each other, 3 people know each other, but pretty much they're all strangers to each other. And on our soundtrack with the Village People, YMCA come on. The whole store is in the YMCA. And I'm like on 4 or 5 days of just really so little sleep. And Ron, I look at you like, am I hallucinating here? Is this really real? And people are just doing the whole YMCA dance in the entire store. You know, this is nuts. And so people kept asking me, well, I want to do one of these stores, and kept asking us and how to do it. And we thought, the idea of franchising came to us. So we had all of this debt. Rockfizz was doing great when we opened up. So the cash flow was good, but the expenses clearly, including the debt, clearly exceeded the cash flow. So I went to, in the next year, I went to 13 banks, lending institutions, credit unions. They all told me to screw off, take a hike. We don't want to talk to you. And so I'll watch my language. So, and so I have real estate, I have assets that can be collateralized, and nobody wanted to give us a loan at all. And so it was pretty bad. So what happened was, a couple weeks after we opened, we knew we couldn't get any loans. We already got 2 or 3 banks. They all said no. We needed cash flow. So it was raining one night, like at midnight. We're sitting on the floor in the Camarillo store. We're like, okay, what do? We got a gold mine here, a huge winter. We need money. So we decided to jump on an airplane and go fly to Asia. And so what we did in Asia was, a lot of toys are made in Asia. It's just, you want to buy American, but unfortunately you just can't compete in so many areas. So we flew there and bought a bunch of old toys and gag gifts, but we also bought 10,000 pieces of fake dog poop. And so we brought them back. I'm calling a spade, you know. We brought back the 10,000 pieces of fake dog poop among everything else, and we sold it out within probably 3 or 4 months. And so the joke is, we always joke that Rockfizz is partly built and financed by fake dog poop. It's actually true, you know. So and let me back up about the store build out. When the contractor took our money, we were up on in Bridgeport, north of Bridgeport, Highway 395, north of Mammoth. I don't know if you guys have been up there. It's a really pretty area. So we're fishing, and we're like, okay, we gotta get our store open. What are we gonna do? And we're on this dirt road, and there's a pile of trash, corrugated metal, just old wood. And Ryan's like, let's just use that to build out our store. I'm like, it's trash. So let's just do it. So we've been back in my truck. We just threw all this trash in the back of my truck, corrugated metal and wood. And to this day, it's still in Camarillo, right by our coolers. You can still see the old trash pile on our wall that we built out our store with. It's just a way of saving money and bootstrapping the business. And so banks wouldn't help. Still, I don't think they really helped much anyhow. They certainly didn't help back then. And so we had to just be creative about financing. And so when we started franchising, it took about a year to go we got a really good franchise lawyer, kind of a great franchise lawyer. And it took about a year to go through the whole franchising process. You have to get approval from the Department of Corporations, do all the backgrounds. It's just a long process. And so we needed to be able to make money before the approval. So we got really involved in the bottling end. We got a bottling plant in Northern California. And we started doing licensing deals with a few of the stores before we were able to sell franchises. And so there's another income stream for us is our soda pop bottling. And so by developing these different income streams for Rockfizz, we were able to help improve our cash flow and so on. And so that's kind of what we did. And so the concept just kept growing and growing. People want to buy more and more stores. We have, today, in fact, I should have said this at the beginning, Ryan can't be here. I'm a little late to say that now. He can't be here because we just opened up Henderson, Nevada on Monday, and Salt Lake City opens tomorrow. And he's the operations guy, and he goes to all the stores and does the build-outs. That's why I'm here solo. But we just grew. And so the concept began the idea was I have a tenant for my property, pays the rent, have a good time give Camarillo a good time, and then it just really hit. And so it still evolves. We've gotten really big, and we have a new CEO who brought in last year as an equity partner. And but we're still growing, even though we're in our infancy. We're in 15 states now, and just started here. But the financing part, we're over that bell curve, I hope, and so everything's is really good. But it's really challenging for us to get past that, and you just got to be creative in how you're going to raise the money. And I have friends and family. Nobody is departing with their money. Back in 08, 09. There's just nobody wants to leave. The banks are not loaning money, and they like the whole economy was shut down. And I don't know how many people here have businesses and have the experience, but it was really tough. Even people a lot older than me in business have never seen it this bad. And so I think we're kind of coming out of it. I'm not sure, but Rockfizz is definitely coming out of it. What the economy is, I don't really know, but it was a pretty tough time. So in terms of financing, I wouldn't start a business unless you have capital, and I definitely learned a life lesson on this one. And you definitely want to be capitalized. And if you start a business also, you want to make sure you have all your intellectual property lined up, trademarks lined up. You always want to get lawyers on your side, just to make sure everything's done the right way, so there's no any issues later on. We own a lot of trademarks. We have an IP lawyer out here who does all of our trademarks, and Alpha Soda's here. We have everything's trademarked, and so our names, everything. So if you ever start a business, you just want to make sure everything. It costs a little bit of money, but you want to make sure everything's done the right way. In terms of branding, I'm a big. One of the other hats I wear for RocketViz is I'm in charge of all the marketing and branding and franchise sales. And let me go to franchise sales. So franchise sales. So when people inquire, we get inquiries every day from all over the country for franchises. We've never done any franchise conventions, never advertised a franchise for sale in any franchise publication, never marketed our franchises for sale in any traditional manner. And people find out about us through TV shows, customers come in and want to buy one or know somebody. That's usually how it works. And I talk to every single person who wants to buy a RocketViz franchise. So every franchise inquiry we get, it doesn't mean they really want to buy one, doesn't mean they're qualified, doesn't mean we want to sell them one. You just kind of weed it out. Like for every 10, maybe 2 or 3 are qualified, and there's a meeting of the minds. Buying a franchise, any franchise, it's a huge life decision. And our franchisees, they come from all different backgrounds. There's a guy in Denver, in fact, he's the one his 3rd franchise is Salt Lake City, which we're opening. He was an accountant for 11 years. We just have franchisees from all different backgrounds. And for people who are entrepreneurs and want to start a business, there's less of a risk to buy a franchise. I'm not trying to sell you RocketViz, believe me, but there's a lot of good franchises out there. And so one thing you guys want to look at as a business owner is buying a franchise. Buy something that you really enjoy doing, that you like, and that you're passionate about. If you don't like it or you're not passionate about something, don't do it. To be successful at something you don't like to do is going to be really hard. You want to have a good time doing it and have fun. But franchising is a really good way. You have a system that's already been implemented, a system that works. You have a support structure for franchisor, from locating real estate to training to everything. And so that's one thing to look at. And like I said, there's a lot of good franchises out there. The marketing, I don't know how many of you have seen us on the TV show Tanked or Let's Make a Deal, Price is Right. We just have a lot of media, and I'm the guy for RocketViz who gets us on all those shows. And we don't do, and I absolutely do not believe in traditional advertising and marketing. For instance, every day our emails, I can't even look at the emails anymore. I have one of the girls who works for us who does it. All day, every day, there's a stack of people trying to sell us social media advertising, credit card processing. Just like credit card processing, you can get 50 people trying to sell you credit card processing, and everyone's the cheapest and the best. Well, 49 of them are wrong, and then you don't have time to go through it. And it's really, they're all just the same. And so if you guys want to, if anyone has a business idea or concept they want to put together, be different. I'm literally done. Be outside the box. You don't do what if you have competition, look at what they're doing and don't do what they're doing. Even if they're successful, still be different. And whatever it is, just like with us, what makes us different is there's a lot of things actually. What makes us different is you're kind of looking at it right there. We're soda pop bottlers. We have our own bottling plant up north. And we're a big company now, but we're not corporate. We don't act like a corporate. I own one suit and tie. I've worked once in the last 4 years, and that was like a month ago. And we're just 2 guys, and plus our CEO, who just come up with really crazy ideas. And these sodas are really funny. I have over 1,000 more sodas in one bottle, and it just takes time to roll them out through the system. We just can't do it every day. But being creative and interesting and funny and giving people a good time and obviously value for whatever they're spending money on is really, really important in life, with any business. And so RocketViz is, it's like an entertainment. I assume a lot of you have been to the stores, right? How many have been to the stores? I mean, the whole room almost. Thank you. Well, thank you. Go back anytime you want, too. I appreciate that. Thank you. Go back every day. It's all good. But yeah, it's... Yeah, they're entertainment based. You have an idea of what they're about. I put the soundtrack together of all the funny 60s and 70s music, including the Village People, YMCA, and the visuals. There's a reason, without getting too detailed, there's a reason why our trade dress, when you walk into the stores, there's a reason why everything is where it is, why it's there. There's a reason for everything. I'm not going to go into details, but as when you buy a franchise, you obviously learn that stuff. And there's a reason why other franchisors have the same sort of trade dress. But there's a reason. Nothing is an accident when you go into a RocketViz store. And so, the bottom line is you all want to have a good time, and we want to give you a good time. And I have a great time in the stores. I have a good time just everything we do with this company is pretty fun, like 95% of the time. The 5% is just the pain, we just deal with it. But we, yeah, so we went from one store in February '09 to 56 right now, I think, and in 15 states. And our goal is to be in every city and town throughout America, and we will be. And it just takes time, and it's a controlled growth. And in fact, one of the reasons we brought in our new CEO, he has a really good background. He and I actually been friends since we were kids, and he's got an MBA from Harvard, a really smart guy. He's run businesses and companies and grown them before. He knows how to scale. He's a really technology-based guy. We have a whole POS system we're implementing right now. But scaling the company and not growing too fast or lose control over it, it's a balance. And I have no ego about it. I don't have the skills, and Ryan doesn't have the skills. If this guy, his name is Rich, and Rich has the skills. And so we brought him in as an equity partner, and it's the right thing to do for the company, the right thing to do for the franchisees. It's the right thing to do for us to be able to take over America and Rocket Fizz everywhere. And so, and when I say ego, I mean ego is a good thing in company when you have a business, but don't let your ego get in the way of reality as well. You got to always check and balance yourself. And starting businesses, I started companies. I mean, when I was 8 years old. In fact, when I was 8 years old, my dad, from 8 years old to 15 years old, my dad would take me to Saugus Swap Meet every Sunday for about 7 years. And so I was a kid, 8 or 9 years old, wheeling and dealing baseball cards, buying collections and sports memorabilia from all the older people selling them at flea markets, and then going to baseball card conventions and selling them. And I just all kinds of crazy things in my life. But as a kid, I kind of learned that it's like wheeling and dealing and talking to people and relating to people, and that's just something you learn in life. And to be successful in business, it's a lot of it is relationships. And going back to the financing part, when we were struggling financially with this Can Maria store because of all of our debt, we had certain vendors we went to and just said, look, can you give us terms? Do we have credit for them? We have great credit, but we have no history with you guys. And we have certain vendors who just liked us. You know, we're stand-up guys. We're not stealing anybody's money. If we tell you we're going to do something, we're going to do it. And we did. So they gave us net 30, net 90, net 120, which is unheard of for people. But they gave us great terms, and we're able to leverage that money to grow the business as well. So between that and fake dog poop and everything else, we're able to grow it, you know. And we still bring in new things, new items, new products. It's always changing and so on. But yeah, another thing about business also, I'm kind of jumping around all over the place here. Another thing about business is, on a personal level, you know who you're surrounding yourself with, like your relationship, your friends, your family. I kind of learned, you know, I my own lessons of life, the life of hard knocks in the sense of relationships with the Rocket Fizz. The people you think you can depend on, especially when you're having financial problems early on, weren't there. The people you wouldn't think anything are suddenly there. It's just like, wow, this is crazy. And so it's important to surround yourself with the right people. You don't want to be around the naysayers who go, oh, you can't do that, and don't do this, and just, you know, you don't have time for that. If you really want to follow your dreams of owning a company or whatever it is that you want to do in life, you just do what you want to do and just don't let people get in your way. And when you start a business, we've had so many roadblocks with Rocket Fizz and everything I've done. Life is just full of roadblocks. You kind of look at it like, if you're making a road trip to Montana, you're halfway to Montana, and the road is closed. You're not going to just turn around and go home. You're going to figure out from the map how to get to Montana. And that's what business is all about. You know, I don't know the answers for everything. Ryan doesn't, even Rich does. We just don't know. We know a lot, and we keep learning. I'll be 100 years old, and I'll still be learning. It's not about what you know, it's about how you handle situations that come your way. And situations come our way about every 20 minutes, pretty much. It's nuts, but they do. But it's your disposition. It's how you don't get all freaked out, emotional, and you just got to handle everything. You just got to think about everything that happens in life and just think it through. It's like playing a game in a sense. But it's really important to enjoy what you do in life, to be passionate about any business you want to start. And if you're, like I said, if you're not passionate, don't do it. Just don't. You know, you're going to lose. And so, so I get really long-winded. Anybody want to ask any questions or anything? Then just go ahead. Sure. Okay, two good questions. Rocket Fizz, I get the question a lot from Rocket Fizz. In fact,
will you repeat the question before you answer it?
Yeah. She wanted to know how we came up with the name Rocket Fizz, and is there any special formula in our drinks? So the name, I get that question a lot. In fact, we've had so much media, and I read some of the things written about us, I'm like, where the heck did they get that from? You know, this is wrong. I'll tell you exactly where the name came from. In 2007, when we had the idea of Rocket Fizz, we did not have a name for it. So it's nothing dramatic here, but I'm sitting on my couch at home with a legal paper and writing down names, and my ex-girlfriend was there at the time. I'm throwing stuff at her, and she just thinks everything's stupid, so I left her out of it. So I wrote down my name, no ex-girlfriend, so there. So I have all these names, and then I'm up in northern Nevada. So come down to Camarillo, Ryan's already down here, and then one of the names, of course, is Rocket Fizz. And so we leave Camarillo to drive back to Reno. We leave Camarillo by 8 o'clock at night, and we're in a town north of Bridgeport called Colville. I remember everything exactly the way it was. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're just going to Rocket Fizz business model. So 2 in the morning, we're like, okay, let's get to the name now. So I'm driving, and Ryan's passenger seat, and I'm like, okay, I'm saying his names, and he's just like, no, and no. And I say Rocket Fizz, and he's just quiet. And then I said, okay, and I had a logo in mind. The logo is, like it is today, Planet Earth, North America in the background, a Flash Gordon type of rocket going around Planet Earth. Can you guys hear me? Is that okay? Is that me? Okay. It's Planet Earth in the background, Planet Earth and North America in the background. Stand here? Okay. I'll stand wherever you want. I'll go outside if I'm going to go outside. That's okay. Okay, I'll go Rocket Fizz. Okay. So the idea was the logo is you have Planet Earth in the background, Planet Earth is a logo, North America in the background, a Flash Gordon type rocket with soda bubbles coming out the back, and I used to be blonde when I was a kid, so like a Dennis Menace kind of character on a rocket. It's like a real retro. And so as we're driving near Colville, on the way to Reno, 2 in the morning, so I said to Ryan, and then he was quiet for about a few seconds, and I elaborated on the logo that I envisioned, and that was it. That's where it came. I wish I had a great fun, so I was parachuting, the chute didn't open, it was rocky, that's exactly what happened. So that's how the name came up. I had some other funny names too. So the formula, we have a lot of flavors. In fact, I was just telling Brandon that we're bottling a maple bacon, a chocolate bacon, a strawberry chocolate, and banana chocolate all in the next 30 days. So it is. So we have a bottling plant in Northern California. And all of our water, we have a river that's about 30 feet underneath our bottling plant. So we pipe down, pull the water out of the ground into the high Sierras, and it's pure, it's only mountain water, and we use real cane sugar in our sodas as well. It's a healthier soda. And the flavors, it's hard to, we can go to a restaurant and pretty much bottle, depending on the restaurant, probably half the items on the menu. And a lot of it works, a lot of it doesn't work. There's been a lot of trial and errors, a lot of errors, that's for sure, bottling this stuff. But the flavors come from, it just depends what we want to bottle. The first, and that came from just a drive down the 101 freeway near Laurel Canyon heading to Pasadena, and I remember exactly what we're like, Ryan's just like, let's do a really funky soda, let's just bacon. And then we put a label together, just a road trip. And all our ideas come in cars because we're so busy bouncing around to where we're actually together. And so, but there's these incredible, crazy brainstorming, wacky, funny sessions that we have. Just I don't even know where this stuff comes from. Like a demon inside me comes up with this. It's funny. But go ahead. Sorry.
Are they all sugar, or do you have non-sugar ones? And one other question I was thinking what percent of all your various versions actually sells?
Okay, so, well, percentage-wise, it varies. Believe it or not, our bacon soda has been our #1 seller in the last year. Go figure. And I always joke around, eat your eggs and drink your bacon. So bacon's a fad. I mean, it's going to be big in a year or two. We don't know. We watch. We pay attention to all the sales, all the statistics, all the spreadsheets. Well, we know what's going on. But there's a huge demand for it. The most common flavors are your root beer, your cream sodas. We have even though we have 85 sodas that we own, either a license, like we license Snooki and Judge Wapner and Geometry and so on. But we own these labels. But we also do deals with small bottling plants that we have exclusives on around the United States. And so there's a lot of great soda out there that just can't make it to the retail market. And so we're the guys who do it. We're also distributors. And Ryan has that background, which I've got my crash course in it. And to distribute sodas, we have a whole infrastructure in place for the Rocket Fizz stores. And so to be able to support our brand, and trade dress and inventory. We control everything. Nothing, no product can be in any Rocket store unless I approve it or Ryan approves it. That's it. We get people from all over the country, probably all over the world, sending us products and ideas, and can we sell this, can we sell this, and it's important that we sell the same thing. So go back to sodas, all the sodas, we have about 500 different sodas in our stores, of which 85 we actually own. Are you guys okay listening? Can you hear me? Okay. So does that answer your question? So yeah, we have not done a diet soda yet. I'm actually working with a celebrity right now who wants to do his own diet soda line. I have an NDA signed, so I can't really talk about it, but we haven't done it yet. We do sell diet sodas from other beverage makers, but Rockers has not done one yet. We're eventually going to do one. There's two flavors that the customers, the people have asked us the most about for diet drink. That's probably what we'll start with. So yeah, we don't know what the supplement is going to be. If there's something different, it's as healthy as we define.
How'd you get on the Price is Right?
The producer of The Price is Right. Well, Drew carries a fan of ours, which actually helps. But The Price is Right. We were on twice actually. So and in the showcase both times, and they won both times. And so the producer of The Price is Right contacted us and said she wanted to see if we could be on The Price is Right. So did you see it did you see it on TV? So we so the last one is a Father's Day version. They filmed it in April, and I was down there with the set and stuff. And so we have a NASCAR race truck that Rocket is sponsors, and again, we got a great deal on it. It's very different than what other companies do. I'm not a huge race car guy. I could talk about baseball, football all day long, but I'm not a huge race car guy. But it's fun, and so we've all Rocket this race truck. So that races out at Irwindale Motor Speedway. So the producer was asking us if we want to be involved in the Father's Day version of Rocket, have Rocket to sponsor it, and I said, let's just do our NASCAR race truck and put it in the showcase. Great branding, great exposure, 3 or 4 million people watching it. And we bottled sodas for all the audience and gave it away and gave them all candy, and the people who were on it, they won the race. And in fact, we were out there Irwindale in October with our race truck, the last race of the season, and we actually won the championship, which is crazy. I didn't think we would, and we did. But with The Price is Right winners, we have them on our Facebook page and on our website. It's all about branding. It's just about getting. Look what everyone's doing. Do something different. And I learned from people when people come to us trying to sell us advertising and social media. Just every day, people trying to sell us all their services. There's so much people trying to like ram down our throats. We can't keep up with it. But then I also look at what everyone's doing. I'm like, okay, this is exactly what I'm not going to do because everyone's doing it. And you just got to think about what not to do. In fact, what I'm implementing now, a few weeks ago I came up with something called Project Space Alien. And what that is we're taking bicycles and making them into spaceships. And we're having employees dress up as Martians. Without elaborating more, it's going to be really funny marketing. And we're going to test it here in Southern California. And if it works, I'll have every franchisee, and I'll implement it through the entire system. But it's being different. I haven't seen many Martians pedaling bikes around, lately. And so it's being different, And we're big into props. So you go to Rocket stores and we tell our franchisees, some franchisees with Wednesday on this display who does a great job with props, so others who just don't want to spend a nickel on props. But we like to have props, funny things in our stores, entertain people. We had in fact, our store before Rocket was all about Bigfoot. And we had Sasquatches everywhere. It was the funniest thing ever. But the forest fires and economy just put us out, and that's where the debt started. Oh, sorry, someone had their hand up over here.
Have you put the fake bubbles coming in with a fake kill pipe on that truck? Like you have the bubbles?
No. There's also costs you gotta watch for as well. You gotta like try to do things as costly as possible and be as creative as you can. That's a good idea. I like our own spaceship would be great, but I don't think the government allows us to have a rocket spaceship. You never know. We have some funny things. We actually bought it's at our warehouse. We have an old truck that we're going to convert into a rocket ship with a rocket on it. And it has a hydraulic. We're waiting for a certain event to happen before we do this. But it's a rocket. It's a truck with all these rockets on it. It's pretty funny. I think the CHP will pull us over. If you see a big rocket truck driving the 101 freeway, just know it's us. And if you see CHP pulling us over, it's not our fault. We just didn't know. It's like, we're not bombing anybody. That's a funny thing. So yeah, go ahead.
A lot of people are concerned that individual servings are green and recycling, etc.
Individual servings?
Yes, like the individual bottles. So do you buy that bottles?
There's CRV. We don't. People bring in the bottles. You know, and it's up to franchisee if they want to buy it back. It's rare that someone brings back the bottles. I think people will just buy them and take them to recycling. I haven't seen anybody bring a bottle back to our stores that I'm aware of in a couple of years. I remember one lady used to do that. We take it back, no worries. But I think people just take them to recycling. And so I'm not too involved in that end. But they're all California CRV and stuff. So, go ahead. I'll work my way back. Sorry, go ahead.
You talked about see what everyone's doing and do something different. That's at the corporate level. How much do you control the franchisees? How much do you let them have individuality?
Actually, we love to hear their opinions. We have some franchisees who are smart and funny and give us great ideas. And so we welcome that. We have franchisees who like to find products. So, hey, why don't we carry this? And we get emails of products all the time. They've introduced us to some really good vendors and some good products. And they've given us a couple soda ideas, and we welcome that. We want that. It's not just, even though we control it, we welcome everything. And I'll tell you, some of the most brilliant people I've met are like 8, 9, 10-year-old kids. You know, I'll be in a store, and I'll be like, what do you guys like about Rocket Fizz? And let's go off. And I'll be like, what don't you like about Rocket Fizz? Kids are clean slates. They'll just tell you anything. And so once in a while, some kid is like, man, that kid's brilliant. You know, and I'm just, or actually thinking something different. So just talk to people and hear what they have to say, including our franchisees. Because our franchisees interact with people every day, all day, like we do. And so we're all teammates. We're all here to grow our business, to make money, to make a living, and to grow the brand. And so we have to listen to our franchisees. We have some really funny franchisees out there. And that's why when I say I'm the guy when anybody inquires for a franchise, I'm the guy they speak to. We don't have a salesperson. We don't do anything. I want to know who's going to buy a Rocket Fizz store. This is a long-term relationship. I want to know who's going to buy a Rocket Fizz store. Are we right for them? Are they right for us? And the people I talk to become co-founder, and I want to know who everybody is. I don't want a salesperson representing Rocket Fizz when I don't know how they're representing us. And I don't know who they're going to sign up as a franchisee that we're stuck with. I mean, I just want to make sure it's done the right way for both parties. So I talk to everybody. And so when I talk to people, I have franchisees I'm working with now, I've signed up for just, even talking to them about how they want to buy Rocket Fizz, and they're just really funny and creative, and I love it. We have one guy who's a current franchisee. When you sell a franchise, there's a 14-day wait period. I give you the FDD. The law is I cannot take your money or sign you up for 14. It's actually 14 plus 1 day, as our lawyers say, so 15 days. So 15 days. So I had a franchisee, and I met him at Starbucks up in Northern California. He has stores elsewhere. And he comes from the banking business. I met him. He's like almost hyperventilating meeting me. Just like, oh my God, I just want to sign right now. I got to sign right now. I go, there's a wait period. I just got to wait. He's like, oh, screw the wait period. I want to do it now. I'm like, I have to wait. But he had all these funny ideas for Rocket Fizz. He's a great guy. He's actually looking for a second store right now. And so I'm talking to him like, this is a guy who's just, he's just really passionate about what we do. And it's not just the soda candy, it's just the fun that it brings. His kids, he's married with kids. His kids come in, and I think his kids wanted the store as much as he did, and probably, who knows what happened behind the doors. He probably yelled at him every day to buy the store, for all I know. I mean, he did, but we welcome that. We kind of got a little off track, but we welcome people giving feedback. You have to have that. I mean, we don't have all the answers, and there's a lot of smart, creative, fun people out there who have good thoughts. And so, yeah, absolutely. That's where ego comes in, and don't let your ego get in the way. You just let people, I don't know everything, and people are smarter than me and have better ideas than I do, and they're out there, and just listen to what people have to say. So, yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Rob, thank you for sharing your exciting story with us. At the beginning, you gave us a bunch of pieces of advice, and one of the first pieces of advice you gave us was, don't start your business unless it's properly capitalized. But it sounded like you were having challenges. Yeah,
but I learn from me.
So my question is, would you have started Rocket Fizz if you had waited to be properly capitalized?
Wouldn't have happened, because we had so much debt. But yeah, so I see the point you're making, and so...
It seems like that's typically the situation. Most of the successful companies, by sheer force, they go and they make it happen, and that's part of the litmus test for a successful entrepreneurial CEO is like, well, that's an obstacle, not a roadblock.
Yeah, it is an obstacle, not necessarily a roadblock. It was certainly an obstacle for us. I don't have any metal on me, so I don't know.
So
Okay. But yeah, ideally you want to be well capitalized. You don't have the stress level and the challenges that we had. If we had no debt and proper capital, maybe we'd have 200 stores. I just don't know. But what I do know is in 2007, especially 8, 9, 10, I wouldn't want anybody to go through what we had to go through. Literally, on a personal level, on every level possible. I mean, it was just 80, 90, 100-hour work weeks just to deal with what you got to deal with. Stress like you wouldn't believe. There's times I'm like, oh my God, man, I have a heart attack right now. It's stress. We had a funny business. You know, on the front end, you see all of it, like it's a great time. Behind it, there's a lot of things are going on. You know, and including our capital challenges. Did I answer you? Hold on a second.
No, again, you answered the question, but I think in an ideal world, you want to be properly capitalized. And if you're a third-time entrepreneur, you can go to your VC friends you've made money for before, you can start with money. But all those people, Google, PayPal, eBay, Amazon, every company like that, first-time entrepreneurs, you never have the capital.
That's right. At some point, when you prove yourself, the capital comes.
Yeah.
By that time, half the time it's too late. They don't need it. Like us.
If you were gonna move it, you sold the Jelly Belly. I mean, when I think Rocket was a big deal with Jelly Belly soda, you know, it was a compliment. It was fantastic. But if you went to go do another business, you could get capital right away.
That's correct. That's correct. Then we've proven ourselves now. That's exactly right. 5 years ago, I mean, I wish the banks had your thought 5 years ago, 4 years ago, but they didn't.
Right.
You know, they wouldn't give us time of day. You know, they just told me to get lost. You know, so yeah, I got really long-winded about that one. Let me tell you one bank experience. I have to say it. So there's a local bank, and I went in about 2 months after Rocket Biz opened, and I go in the guy's office, and he says, "You have to be in business for 1 year for us to consider giving you a credit line or a loan." I said, "Okay, no worries." 1 year to the day I walk in his office. 1 year, not even a day late. And he goes, "It's 2 years now." I go, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, you know, it's like what's wrong with this guy? You know, but just I'm driving away thinking, okay, you know, we're going to make this happen without these banks, no matter what, and we did. You know, and so, but that's the way to deal with it. And I can't fault the banks entirely because the economy was really bad. I mean, I've never seen banks not loaning money. And I even said to all the banks, I go, put a note on my properties. Do whatever you need to do. It's give us capital. Get us out of this debt, and then we can let us grow the business. Nothing. It's just like, that's why we had to go to Asia. But the good thing that came out of it, it forced us to really use our noodles and think hard about, okay, now what are we going to do now? And that's, from that moment on, it just hasn't stopped. It forced us out of that box. So, go ahead.
Okay, you mentioned Asia. Sooner or later, you're going to saturate the U.S. And we know in Asia and Europe, they in some places, they love McDonald's, KFC.
We know. We're very aware. Yeah. You should see
It's early to plan on it.
And we are. So, yeah, it goes a little beyond that as well. Thank you. In fact, our Tank TV show aired 2 weeks ago for the 16th time in the United States. It's aired in Australia. It's aired in Europe 3 times. And I always know the day after it airs, I just see when the girls just look at their emails, it's just stacked. People like in Germany working up by bacon soda, Australia working it's just a crazy thing, and we know there's a demand out there. Yeah, I agree. So we'll be we can go beyond the American borders. Go ahead. Well, the co-branding is very general. Yes, co-branding, we co-brand with celebrities, like Snooki, for instance. She's a great brand. I know her in real life, and she's a friend of mine, and believe it or not, she's a really smart girl, very smart. And I have a nice relationship with her, and she has her own brand, and her team has done an incredible job with her. And we've co-branded with her, for instance, by doing her wild cherry soda. And so it's co-branding on that level. I'm a big fan of movie and TV shows, and celebrity endorsements. It's incredibly powerful to use Hollywood to help promote your brand, and in turn you help promote that film, that TV show, and that celebrity. There's an incredible cross synergy between us and that industry. And so co-branding on that capacity, yeah, we do movie product placements. In fact, if you go to our website, we just did a product placement for a film, a low-budget film called The Concessionaires Must Die. A friend of mine's directing it. There's rocket is everywhere. And then we use other celebrities who were and directors who were in other films and TV shows as well. You'll see rocket is. I can't control the final cut, what's there. I just allow them to use all the sodas and our logos and stuff. But co-branding is really big. Yeah, We've been approached by other stores to have Rocket Fizz inside of like a main store and co-brand on that level. We haven't done that yet. The right opportunity hasn't presented itself. But yeah, if you want to be more specific, I can give you more specific answers, hopefully. Okay.
I mean, you're not looking at franchising it similar to what you would see with 7-Eleven or Starbucks, getting back to the airline brands.
Well, our brand stands on its own right now, and I never say never to anything. We're always open to something. There's always going to be good ideas, clever ideas that we haven't come up with, and just people have, things happen. So I'm always open to hearing ideas. So yeah, we can consider co-branding depending on what it is. And it has to be the right relationship. They have to have the right brand like us. We're really funny, family-oriented. Just a fun brand. We want to be able to co-brand with something like that, and nothing that's going to take away from what we're about. And so yeah, yes, we're open to it. Yeah, to answer. Hold on one second. Go ahead. What's that? I'll get you next time. I promise. Go ahead.
Because you franchise in so many places now, you've gone into lots of municipalities, which all have their own sets of rules, regulations, etc.
Well,
which ones drive you nuts? Which are the cities that put regulations in place and absolutely make it impossible for you to go in? And which ones do a great job of encouraging new businesses like yours?
Can you sit here until Christmas time? Because I'll go off on that one. Well, first of all, there's two. I can clarify. In selling franchises, there's registration states, there's non-registration states. We just can't sell franchises in every state. And so our attorneys, who are franchise lawyers, I know generally what states we can sell and what we can't sell. If I have somebody who wants to buy a franchise in a state we're not registered, we'll go get registered. And like California is a registration state, whereas maybe I guess Texas is not, for instance. And so, and Texas is a very business-friendly state. The store build-outs, we have our own crew, and this goes back to the contractors stealing all the money from us. When Ryan's friends came in and bailed us out, this is the crew today that builds out all the Rocket Fizz stores. We built out every Rocket Fizz stores around the country except for one. And that franchisee had his own people want to do it, and it cost them like 3 times the amount, more headaches. Our crew's done it so many times, they must do it in their sleep. But they deal with different cities, counties, and some of them are big pain. California is not a business-friendly state, whereas other states are. And I get really long-winded about government regulations and stuff. I'm pro-small business. Even for Rogers, I'm pro-small business. Let people have a business. Don't handcuff them. We've created around 300 jobs, obviously without any bank help. And 2 guys responsible for 300 jobs, and maybe it's 280, maybe it's 320, somewhere around there. And the government comes out and says, jobs, we want to create jobs. Well, make it easy for small businesses to do business. Loan money, do things for people, do things for business owners. They don't. So we take it upon ourselves, just do it ourselves, and we did. So if they really wanted to create jobs, in all honesty, they would make it easy on business owners to do business. But they don't. So honestly, I don't really know what their priorities are. They say something, but when they do it, completely different. I get really long-winded about that. So yeah, and the store build-ups, you have to have your health permit, your building permits. It depends if the franchisee leases a vanilla shell where there's really no TIs other than like a mop sink that the health department needs. Generally, it's not too difficult, but there are absolutely here in Southern California and other states where they just make it really hard. And I'd love to say more. I know my camera, I got to watch my mouth, but yes, it's not always easy. It's a pain. Go ahead.
There are some places locally that have cafeterias, and I wonder if you had thought of maybe the planetarium or the Space Museum, or contacting Richard Branson.
Yeah, I love Richard. I love Branson. I love Donald Trump. All those guys are just creative and marketing geniuses. But
There's cafeterias.
Thank you for saying. We actually sell to non-Rocket Fizz stores too. Because we're bottlers and distributors, for us to keep all of our costs as low as possible for franchisees, we have to bottle and sell volume. We have to buy thousands of glass bottles, hundreds of thousands or more of caps. Everything. The more we bottle, the less the price becomes. The cheaper it is for us, and we pass that cost on to our franchisees. Number one. Number two is by selling Rocket Fizz stores, like say Bevmo has 7 of our labels, and some other stores do. When people walk into, let's say, a Bevmo or another store, they see Rocket Fizz. Like, this is really good, I love this soda we're buying. And then there's a Rocket Fizz store. They're like, well, I had this last week. And someone maybe have never been to a Rocket Fizz, they go to Bevmo and buy our product. I say Bevmo, but there's a lot of other stores as well. It's almost like like Mrs. Fields cookies. You can go to a mall and buy Mrs. Fields cookies. You can go into a grocery store and buy Mrs. Fields cookies. Ben & Jerry's ice cream. Even Baskin Robbins, you can just buy the Baskin Robbins franchisee, or you just go to the store and buy it. It's getting the brand in front of as many eyeballs as possible. And so we do that. And so I appreciate your advice. And we're already doing that. And thank you. The planetarium would be great. We have people who go out and rep our sodas. And so whether they approach a planetarium or not, I have no idea. I assume it's on the Griffith Park up there, right? So yeah, I used to go there in high school with laser shows. Oh, what? Oh yeah, that'd be great. We hold Martian. Yeah, no, it'd be. Thank you for suggesting that. I'll pass it on to our distributors. Yeah. Go ahead.
It's been said that McDonald's is not as fast as real estate.
That's correct. That's. Go ahead.
Okay, your background is real estate.
Mhm.
You did working capital for you.
Yep.
Always
Yep. That's part of that's like part of our original business plan. But because we had all this debt, we had to switch the business plan down. In fact, we have a franchisee, a guy named Jeff, and his wife Polly. They actually own 4 franchises, and one of them is in Estes Park, Colorado. And he bought the building. It's next to Starbucks. He bought the building. It's a building just for occupants, and he's got a franchise. He's a great. He has a banking background also. So great guy, great operators. And so, but yeah, I even built in tenant. So then in Canada Maria, part of the idea was I have a tenant leaving, and I could put a store in there to pay me the rent that I need, and then I had no idea it was just going to become incredibly successful the way it did, and fun in every other which way. But yeah, real estate is definitely the way to go. Go ahead.
What habits and skills do you think that entrepreneurs need to either have or cultivate?
The ability to get along well with people, your word. I'm my grandfather, my dad, we're all about your word. I remember as a kid, just if you say something, you can do it, you do it. The handshake deal, even though there's contracts everywhere, if you say you're going to do it, your word. If you go back on your word and you tell someone you're going to do something, you don't do it, or you lie, or you're just dishonest, you're done. I mean, who's want to do business with you? You know, you do business with other crooks. They're great, do that, But I mean, your word is really important. And also just habits, your habits in life. I don't drink. I don't have any bad vices. If someone has like a drinking problem, don't do business. If you're drunk every day, it's just like how you manage money, run a company. Just either pick one or the other. Just it's knowing yourself and knowing who you are. And also, there's a lot of sacrifices. There's tons of sacrifices. One is it's not a 9-to-5 job. I tell everybody, every franchisee, every person who knows me in my company knows you can call me 7 days a week up to midnight. And our CEO, Rich, up in NorCal, he's a late night guy like me. Almost every night, probably 6 nights a week, sometimes 7, we're on the phone from 11 p.m. to 2 in the morning, just going over stuff. Well, I ain't sleeping because he has kids. He doesn't want to bother to 11 at night, so we just hit him up in the morning. But that's what you do. It's not a 9-to-5 job. But that's why I say you want to have fun and enjoy what you're doing, because if you don't enjoy what you're doing and you're not having a good time, you're not going to want to spend the hours you're spending, and then it just suddenly just goes away on you. Did I kind of answer your question? But then stay focused too. There's one more thing. Stay focused too. There's one. You're gonna have roadblocks. There's gonna be moments in your business life and you're like, what the heck was I thinking? This is crazy. And this person said that. And maybe it really is a bad idea. It's just gonna happen. But you just gotta keep your rationale. Just think about what you're doing. Is it right? And find something that's different, that you're not just like everybody else. So you go to credit card processing. I don't know who would want to be a credit card processor. There's so many out there, and everyone has the best deal. It's like quote unquote, but just be different. So go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I have a question about the stickers on your bottles.
The labels, yeah.
Little bit confused. I see there a lot of famous places such as engineers, Stalin, San Bernardin, Fidel Castro. So do you need a permission to put their faces on this?
Well, it's pretty hard to get a hold of Bin Laden right now. It's pretty hard to get a hold of Kim Jong-il. I actually did send Havana down to the Cuban consulate. They don't have an embassy, but I did send one to the consulate in Washington, D.C. when he followed it, haven't heard back. And who else we got? Stalin. Yeah, it's pretty tough to get a hold of Stalin as well. But what we do, it's a funny, quirky. It's a good time. It's all about having fun. And so, yeah, put up a Havana banana. So I actually spent 2 years in Mexico. Can you guys hear me okay? I had a business in Mexico. If you want to know my background, I'll tell you more about it. I lived in Mexico for 2 years, and I used to eat Cuban bananas, and they were great bananas. And so And so between that and we needed a banana soda, we wanted to be funny. Okay, I'll be like a mummy standing here like this, okay? Don't take it personally. So we'll, if I can ditch on my picture or something, but we want to do it just a funny, like a terrorist line, you know? So Havana Banana with a cigar, and that's what we did. Like Kim Jong-il, the first one I did, he was the former dictator of North Korea. A couple years ago, you all probably remember, he was threatening to blow up the world. So I said to Ryan, I go, this guy's in the news every day, threatening to blow up the world. Let's just do a soda to the guy. Just honor him with a soda. Nuclear orange bomb. And that's what we did. It's actually a great soda. And we sell the heck out of it. Now, someone did applaud me. I'll tell you this one. I'm going to stand still again. This is a story label. People don't know unless I tell you the story. It says, knock, knock. Who's there, asks Bin Laden. America. His eyes bulge out. Like, holy mackerel, they found me. Suey later, Navy SEALs killed him. There's a stealth Navy SEAL here, a stealth Navy SEAL there, and apparently he was watching TV when he died, and it says the end. It's a little story label. The military, not just Navy, every military branch buys the heck out of these sodas. It's actually a great cola. It's actually one of my favorite colas that we bought. I'll tell you stories about all these sodas. I can keep going on and on. So does that kind of answer your we do, like, for instance, we do licensing of, okay? So we do licensing, like this Snooki, so she's a friend in real life. I met her 3 years ago when she was out in LA, and I have a really funny story with her. But we licensed, we paid her a royalty. Gene Autry, we paid the Jackie Autry and the Autry Museum a royalty for this. Judge Watner, do you guys remember Judge Watner on People's Court? He's in my family, we have the same DNA. And so he was a pretty easy one to do. He's the first celebrity we did. And I took Judge, after we opened up Rocket Fizz, I took him to an Angels World Sports Geek. So I took Judge to an Angels baseball game. He's asking me about Rocket Fizz. And I said, Judge, what's your favorite soda? He's all, root beer. So I go, okay, Judge, everybody over 30 knows who you are. Let's just do a Judge Wapner root beer. He's like, great. So it took us like 3 or 4 months to put all the artwork together. And so he's coming to Camarillo, our store in Camarillo. We just opened like 4 or 5 months before. And so we built a courtroom on our patio, a fake courtroom. And so for him to come, he's very rigid with time. Be there at 11, has to leave at 1 because his bridge game at Century City at 2 o'clock. This is what he is. So we build the courtroom for him, and we have tons of people. We didn't even promote it. We had banners out. I don't even know how we would promote it, but tons of people came to meet Judge. He signed bottles and stuff, and we pay him a royalty fee. So the wholesale level, because we have like Wizard of Oz and Mighty Mouse and certain things that pay royalty, we have to up the price a little bit to cover the cost of the royalty that we pay on it. And so, but they all sell on the retail level. The margins are a little bit smaller for the franchisees, but they sell more because they're celebrity sodas. We have a lot of our celebrity sodas, movies, TV shows, all kinds of stuff coming out. We can do all that stuff. It just takes time to get it all rolled out in the system. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah.
Fire away. Go ahead.
Yes, I was a little bit scared because I still know that like daughter of Stalin, she's still alive. And like if you put this picture, so probably like if she find out, she can take you to court. I mean,
I'm welcome to that. Cease and desist, we'll stop selling it. Okay. I talked to our IP lawyers. I don't do this by accident. I talked to our lawyers about doing this. And for one, it's my understanding that I get kind of careful how I say it, but there's like certain, I'm not talking about Stalin per se, but certain people who might be considered enemies of America or where there's no relationship between two countries, may not be able to legally file lawsuits in America. Having said that, if we did this, and Stalin's relative says we need the rights, first I'll say, let's pay you royalty. They'll say no. They will just stop making it. It's easy, no big deal. So we haven't sold enough for this to make it worth. For them to make a phone, we just bought it 2 weeks ago. First of all, it's not even out in the system yet. For them to be, to think they're going to capitalize off this, good luck, because we haven't sold enough of it. Well, I'll give them a few cases for free. So yeah, go ahead.
Do you have locations that you like to have your stores at? Have you ever done any kind of planning or marketing analysis as to where a store would be successful? I mean, I personally have some thoughts on that, but I wanted to ask you a question.
We do, we have all that. But go ahead, sorry.
If you formalize where you want your stores to be and what kind of a market location, footprints.
Yeah, demographics and all the other stuff. Yeah, absolute locations. Yes. And what my answer to you is absolutely 100% yes. My answer to you also is we don't, it's some of the stuff I can't talk is proprietary, and when you sign a franchise agreement, we get really into details with you. It's a great question, and we do what you're asking, we do. Now, you obviously know real estate, so it's important for us, and a franchisee especially, to have to open the door. Don't hit a double, come on, hit a home run. And we want everybody to have the right location, the right visibility, the right demographic, the right parking, right egress, just right everything, even the floor plan. And I do all the LOIs and lease negotiations on behalf of the franchisees because of my real estate background. That's another hat that I wear. I'll do everyone, I probably do 75% of them. And we want everybody to open up with a grand slam home run, and so we're really careful with where people open up. The franchisee has the right to choose the location. They have the final say as to where they're going to be. But listen to us. Some of the early franchises opened up were in bad locations. We're in operators I wouldn't have selected early on. But that's because nobody knew who we were. And it wasn't, what's Rocket Fizz? But no one knew who we were. So we weren't able at that time to be as selective as we are now with franchisees and especially locations. So yeah, it's really important, the right location. So
we have time for 2 more questions.
I'll be here till Christmas. I don't mind. I'll talk all day long. Who hasn't asked a question? Okay, go ahead.
My turn? Okay.
There you go.
By the way, I love your bubbly personality.
Oh, thank you.
It's really infectious.
I have no sodas today either.
Kind of a controversial question. Childhood obesity.
Yeah.
And sodas have been, really a target of that. Where do you stand on it? Have you developed some talking points?
Okay. I can get really long-winded about this. So, I don't want to be divisive, but I'll give you my thoughts. Okay, and this goes back to New York, and I know where you're coming from. My thoughts are, and try really hard to remove me as a Rocket Fizz guy. I'll be really objective, not subjective, really objective about my answer here. If you ban soda, and this is a ban on soda, 60 ounces more you can't sell, are companies not going to sell a dozen donuts? Like, only buy one donut at a time? Or I can't buy full pizzas, one slice at a time? I go to Baskin Robbins, maybe I can't buy 2 scoops anymore, just 1 scoop. It's up to it's parents' responsibility. It's not the government's responsibility to tell you what to do. The thing, when I look at neighborhoods, my friends who have kids, when I grew up, we had kids everywhere. We're running around building forts, lighting fires, doing everything. You name it, we did everything. Not burning houses down, little, firecrackers, whatever it is, But we did. But we were outside doing stuff. I don't see kids running around neighborhoods today. It's like ghosts. I said to my friends, do people live in this neighborhood? Yeah, the kids all go to different schools, but they're on their computer games. They're faced with doing stuff. Get off your butt and go outside. And it's the parents to tell their kids, get out there and go do stuff. The parents take their kids to do stuff. Have your kids roll really. Take your kids to the park and throw the ball around. It's just, for the government to come in, it's like, where do you draw the line? The government comes in and says, okay, so no more 16-ounce sodas. Like we passed that law. Okay, no more In-N-Out Burger, no more double cheeseburgers, only single patties, one slice of cheese. Where do you draw the line? And if you allow something like that to pass, to a law pass, there's going to be other knuckleheads out there. Oh, that's passed, let's now do this, and let's now do that. You're restricting American commerce. We live in a free country. We have a free society, freedom of choice. We can choose whatever we want to do in this country, legally, obviously. If I want to go eat a triple scoop of ice cream and 20 ounces of soda, whatever it is, I know American people aren't stupid. They know what's right and wrong, what's good and what's bad. Give people the choices to do what they want. And don't tell me, I don't get really long-winded here, but don't tell me what to do, what not to do. And I don't have any kids. But if I had kids, I get them out and go play ball and do things. Get off that computer game. That's where the obesity comes, among other things. I'll go for days on this one, but thank you for asking that question. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so your last question. Okay. One last question, okay?
Okay, how about these 2? Okay. I give away a lot of our sodas and candy when people come into our stores. It's people like you, the customers. The reason I'm standing here is because of you. Because it really is. And I love soda, I love candy, I love to eat my product, drink it, I love to just look at the stuff and create things. And it's a happy environment. I like it when people come into our stores and they'll say, hey, what's your favorite candy? I go, or like, what does this taste like? I go, no, just try it. I do all the time. I'm responsible for shrinkage in my stores. On the first mix, I give stuff away all the time. Our CEO is like an Excel spreadsheet, look at it, what'd you just do? Just who cares? I did it, I'm going to keep doing it. I give my friends' kids and friends' candy stories late at night all the time. common that I do this stuff. That for me is fun. Like I grew up with a family that's really giving, and I have really good parents, and they're just, I'm sort of carrying that on, I suppose. But creating, the creative part is for me the most fun. I love, I have a little over 1,000 labels, including a lot of different flavors that I want to do. With Ryan too. We have some really funny stuff. Some of it's real pushing the edge on being PC and stuff, but it's really funny. But coming up with these ideas, I don't have, corporate or some big company I have to go to. I'm the guy. He's the guy. It's us. We do whatever the heck we want to do. And no one can tell us otherwise. And that's what we do. And that's what's fun, because we're pretty kind of demented sense of humors in some sense. With some of the funny things that we do, but it's entertaining, and it's working because we're clearly entertaining thousands and thousands and thousands of people a day come into Rocket the stores collectively. Our soda sales and candies were in tens of millions of dollars a year now annually. We started with just one store. That's collectively. And it's because of the stuff we've created. And we're still in the infancy. So that's one of the fun things for me.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Oh, okay, thanks. And also, I'll explain to you all a couple of things. One is, well, a few things. I have, all these sodas are for free, so whoever wants a soda, grab a soda.
Right now, we're like trying to figure out what
We had her up there once. That's a good question. Yeah, sure. Great job.